Hi, my name is Noah Gift, and today I'm going to cover a pretty cool topic, which is how would I, as a C# developer, do a completely cloud-native, container-based workflow and deploy a microservice? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to launch Cloud9. I'm going to build a Docker container that contains a .NET 6 application, a web service. I'm going to then push that to ECR. And then from ECR, I'm going to link it into AWS App Runner, deploy a microservice, and test it. We can all do this in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at a containerized workflow for AWS. If you look at these four services here, AWS Cloud9, Amazon Elastic Container Registry, AWS App Runner, and Cloudshell, you have a pure cloud-based development environment. I don't have to touch anything. I could have, the weakest development environment ever, maybe a web browser on a Chromebook or something like that. With Cloud9, though, because I have this power, I can develop things out in a localized environment that's very similar to where I would deploy to, and I have a high-speed network connection between the ECR environment. So once I've containerized my .NET application, I push it into ECR, and really I'm ready to go. Then once it's in ECR, I have the ability to connect it to a production deploy process. And the reason I can do this is that App Runner allows me to automatically deploy new images that get pushed into ECR. I can listen for that. Once I've got this thing deployed, it's fully encrypted via HTTPS. I can go to Cloudshell, spin up a shell, invoke it via a curl, and test it out. So really, this is the next generation of development for .NET and C#, and it's a good thing to have in your toolkit alongside Visual Studio. Okay, let's take a look at this repo, noahgift.net 6 AWS. And really, this is all you're going to need to get this running in Cloud9. Once you launch Cloud9, you'll need to install some .NET 6 packages, and then you're pretty much good to go. And we're going to go through and deploy this in this environment. So first up, I'll say that I have a Cloud9 environment set up here, and you can set this up yourself. I would recommend setting a powerful machine up. But a few things to point out here that are great to know is that once I've installed .NET, I can run .NET and create a program. In this case, I've got a program here, very simple program that accepts a URL, hello, and I substitute out some string and I can run this. So if I want to actually run this as a containerized application, it's pretty straightforward because I've already got this thing set up. I also can run it as a regular .NET application. Let's go ahead and run a regular one first. Let's go ahead and say .NET run, and you'll see that I'm able to actually take this application, and then I can just grab one of these URLs that pops up here and just curl it and say, for example, name Bob, and we should be able to, we need to go hello. We need to say hello, Bob. There we go. We see that this thing is actually working. Now, if I want to run the containerized version, also fairly straightforward. All I need to do is go over to this Docker file real quick, and let's just take a look at it. This Docker file has a .NET 6 SDK built in. And what I do is I look at this CSproj file and I set it up to build. And then I build out a release that has a port 8080 set up. And I've also got this web service DLL that gets exposed in my containerized application. So what's great about this environment is it's very straightforward to build. In fact, I could just build it locally here by just doing a Docker command. So let's go ahead and bring this up. As long as you're in this directory and you've got a Docker file inside of your project, I can just run this. I can say docker build .t, tag this as the latest. It goes through and it builds this application. And what's nice about this is that because I have a very powerful machine, it's very quick to run. And then if I want to run this, I can just do the docker run command, go through here, docker run. Perfect. We got the same thing. And notice that I can just change the port to the port that Docker is serving out traffic on, which is 8080. There we go. We see Hello Bob is still working. Great. Now, really, at this point, the next thing that I can do is push this over to our ECR environment. Let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick here. So if I go over to ECR here and I type this in, we can see that this stands for the Elastic Container Registry. And all you need to do is create a new repo, put something in here, test or whatever. It's very simple to create a new repository. And then once you want to push it, in this case, I've already got one set up. You would just select view push commands here, and it tells you every single thing you need to do to push your container. In fact, I'll just copy this last one because I've already authenticated, and I'll make it very simple. So if I go through here and I run this push command, you can see very, very fast because we're on the same network, and this thing's good to go. So once it's in there, I could share it with coworkers in AWS or use either ECS or App Runner. We're going to go ahead and use App Runner, and I'll show you how simple it is to set up. So all we need to do to set up a new .NET service in App Runner, I say create service, and here's where the magic of containers come in. I would just point it to ECR, browse, find where I push that last container here. Oh, here we go, web service AWS. I say continue. And then at that point, I can say automatic. And this means that every time maybe the code build system pushes a new container, it'll go through here and push a new version of it. I can again say, deploy .NET here or whatever I want to call this. Go through here, set this up. This looks great. And all I have to do is say create and deploy. So it's trivial to deploy an App Runner service, and it's got all of the software development best practices, logs, activity, metrics, configuration. If I go back here, look, we can see that web service is what I deployed earlier, and take a look at it. There we go. It even runs. So what I can do now is I can actually go to this URL, and I'm going to leverage yet another cloud service, which is I'm going to go to Cloudshell. And if I go to Cloudshell here, I can just run that curl command, and we'll again say, hello, Bob. There we go. We see that this service is working. So really, by leveraging all of these cloud native services, Cloud9, ECR, App Runner, and Cloudshell, I have a complete end-to-end environment without any interruption, and I have extremely fast performance. So for .NET developers, give this a try. I think you won't regret it.